Hello, friends. It's Bob again, bringing you another reflection on what God is saying to us these days. And we've been talking over these last number of weeks about house churches, and that the large Sunday gathering, the church service, and the small gathering in homes are together from God's point of view, church, not one or the other. Sunday service is not church, and small gathering at home isn't church necessarily, but the two of them together, large and small, those compose the way that God uses his body to mold us into Christ likeness. It is the core base, the foundation of discipleship. Now, I want to explore with you this week a little bit, what are some of the byproducts or some of the benefits, the bennies, if you will, about what house churches actually do within this equation. Because I think that most of us are familiar with what a Sunday morning service can do. It can inspire you, it can pump you up, and can kind of refuel you, but it doesn't grow you into Christ likeness the same way that meeting together with a small community of people over a long period of time, where you rub each other wrong and you work through it and you grow up, then you actually are beginning to become like Jesus, loving him well, and loving others well. Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about with you this week is that house church actually, it creates for us and avails us of belonging, that human beings need belonging. And God knows this. He made us for connection. And when we choose to live separate from vital connections with people, we choose to live in a light that is, I would say, subpar, subhuman, sub-Christian, less than what God wants. I love the way that author Watchman Nee used to put it. He wrote a book called The Normal Christian Life, and that is that we settle for something abnormal or subnormal. And the normal thing for God's people is that we are supposed to experience deep belonging. We experience that belonging with God. We experience that belonging together. And belonging is something that every human being needs. You remove us from belonging, we start looking to all kinds of other things for belonging. When we do that, we start bankrupting ourselves, because everything will let us down. Everything except for God, and the way that God wants to bring that belonging through people. So the scriptures say things like this. 1 John 3:1 says, wow, behold, what kind of love that God has for us. He calls us his very own children. We belong to him. Over and over again in the Old Testament, he uses this term, you are mine. You are mine. Jesus says this to his disciples in John 15:16. You did not choose me. I chose you. There's something about being chosen to be in part of his family is actually creates for us belonging. And then I love the way that Jesus prays this to the Father when he's talking to the Father about us. He says, you gave them to me. You gave them to me. The disciples belong to Jesus. And this belonging that we get a chance to experience in house churches is extraordinary. The potential is extraordinary. Now, you can, go to a gathering, a smaller gathering of people, just kind of spend the whole time in small talk, and that might feel like, gosh, I guess this could be good, but I'm not talking about small talk. I'm not just talking about sitting around, munching on munchies and really not saying much of anything. And some people are really good at saying pretty much not much of anything. No, I'm talking about in a house church is a place where you are known by other people, that you share meals together over time. And it takes time. Your guard goes down. You let down your guard, and you begin to be known and appreciated and loved by people. And you feel that sense of, I'm loved by these people. I belong here with them. And that is doing something extraordinary with me, that perhaps that you have pushed through the fear barriers and the trust barriers, where you've said, you know what, I don't feel completely safe, but I feel safe enough to build trust. I feel safe enough to build trust. And maybe you are in the place where you've just been obliterated, in the past, that you have felt like, gosh, I put myself out there and I've gotten hurt, and you're really hesitant to jump out there again. I get it. I think that, just like I said last week, that one of my friends used to say, God, I love you, but your people are mean. And quite frankly, sometimes God's people can be mean. But when you let your guard down, when you experience this, and it takes time, and you let your guard down and you're known, you allow yourself to be known, warts and all, not the pretty stuff, not just the religious stuff, not the cool stuff and the neat stuff, but the all stuff, all that you are, which every one of us is a mixed bag. Everyone. No one is different. Then you get a chance to have people standing with you, accepting you, and that acceptance and belonging does something that there's no substitute with. Social media can't substitute for it in terms of connection, fame, fortune, education, all of these other different things. They cannot substitute for that sense of belonging, that sense of being known. And this is one of the things that Jesus really wants for us. It's what he had with Peter, James, and John. It's what he had with the 12. It's what he had with the entourage that traveled with him. He had this, they knew him and he knew them. And that is part of the benefit of house church. I want to invite you, we'll be starting in mid-February, but I want to invite you to become part of a house church, either online or in person. You'll be hearing more from me with this as this week goes on, as these weeks go on. But these are part of the benefits package that God has for us in community, in koinonia, in the shared life. I love you. I'm so delighted that you decided to join me today. I'm praying for you this week. God bless you.